It is Thursday, September the 8th, 2016. 50 years ago today, the very first episode of Star Trek premiered on national television. And today, Shake and myself, I'm Razzle, are celebrating our 30th episode of the Prattlecast.
So exciting, guys, because it almost didn't happen.
Oh my God, Shake.
It's pretty great that we made it this far.
I think it's pretty incredible, if I'm going to be absolutely honest and pat myself on the back about it.
Yeah, I don't really stick to things. So this is a thing that I've stuck to 30 times. And I'll only get better at this because I'm going to be moving next week. So I'll have so much more time to devote to this and actually be able to put like 100% instead of like 30. And if you go through all of these episodes and like listen to them, I think we've come a long way from where we started.
It sounded like you were getting progressively closer to me as you were speaking just now.
I could have been, I don't know, stretching at the same time.
Oh my God, Shake.
Deal with it.
Anyway, so
you had nothing to add on that. That's fine. Whatever. Fuck it. Like, this is going really well.
30 episodes, 31 weeks. What are you gonna do? It has been a long podcast. You know, if you were to listen to every podcast back to back to back to back, it would take you, what, like 40-something hours to get through at this point?
That's fine. That's like sitting through the Lord of the Rings movies. Let's do it.
Jesus.
We should do that together. Just listen to all of our podcasts. I'd kill myself. I might cringe.
I don't.
I'd just be like, some of them I'd be like, yeah, this is good. Most of them I'd be like, stop. I can't do this.
No, I would never do that. No.
Well, I'm gonna. I'll do it by myself. Fuck it.
So, as far as news going on in the world right now, there's been a lot of gaming news over the last week. There was PAX West. There was, more recently, just yesterday, was the PlayStation Meet. And there was some interesting stuff coming out of that, I would say. Would you say it was interesting?
I wouldn't know. I know nothing about it, so fill me in.
Well, PlayStation basically just announced that they're releasing their new versions of the PS4. One of them is the PS4 Slim, which is basically like the PS4, just, I guess, smaller.
It's skinny.
Yeah, it's sort of like the PS3 Slim when that thing released.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's a waste of money.
It's not a waste of money. If you haven't bought a PS4 and you're shopping for one, PS Slim looks.
A waste of money.
It's a good deal. Like if you're comparing the two consoles side by side, I'd say it's a good deal. And then they're also releasing this thing called PS4 Pro.
Stupid. Stupid. Like, it's just stupid. It's dumb. It is such a cry for money. I can't.
Yeah.
Don't get the PlayStation Pro, for the love of God. Oh God, just don't. I have a feeling that because Final Fantasy 15 is coming out really soon, it's in November, and I have a feeling that based on how that game is looking and conversations I've been hearing, that's going to be ideal to play on the PlayStation Pro. I think people have been playing. I think PlayStation was actually using the Pro at PAX West because they wouldn't let anyone see the system. It was all in a box, so you couldn't see the system you were playing on. So I mean, it's just, it's a waste of money. Fuck it. Just play Final Fantasy on the regular PlayStation. The Pro is stupid.
My feeling on the PlayStation 4 Pro is that basically if you've never bought a PlayStation 4 and you're shopping for a PlayStation 4, then you might see something in it that you like. But my whole thing on this is that, unless you're getting it for VR purposes, so unless you're one of these people who just wants to really experience PlayStation VR, or you have like some super huge 4K TV and a lot of expendable income, then there's really no point in getting one. And because I was looking at these things side by side on my regular monitor, so I mean, what are you gonna do? I don't have a 4K fucking monitor, and I can't tell a difference. Everything looks fine to me. I mean, maybe I'm just like I'm out of date, but
Well,
I
if
don't.
you here's the thing, majority of gamers can't afford to have this machine and what it requires to run it at its optimal, bullshit. Nobody wants to get a 4K TV until it becomes the normal thing to have. Nobody needs a PlayStation Pro ever for any reason. Because instead of getting a PlayStation Pro, I get really irritated when they decide they're just going to make like different versions of the same system. Just work on the PS5. Why are we doing this? We don't need a PlayStation Pro.
No,
I don't.
I agree with you. Because if nothing else, it kind of shows a limitation of the consoles in their generational iterations. In the sense that, when a new console comes out, it's going to be the best thing out there, but very quickly it's going to be replaced by newer technology, and consoles cannot upgrade. So for whatever reason, Sony and Microsoft have gotten it in their heads that it's okay to release an upgraded version of their console for the same price and just assume everybody has the disposable income to just throw it at this new thing, and like they're going to trade in their old system for it.
Right. I just don't want to. I don't want to have, because the thing is, I'm a hoarder. I don't ever give up my systems. I don't need 3, 4 copies of this essentially the same system. Why do I want that?
Right. And I don't know a lot of people that do, other than people who are like big time tech aficionado, what the fuck ever that word is.
Aficionado.
Yeah, that word.
Aficionado. Right.
And
Okay.
but I don't know a lot of people like that, but I'm sure they exist out there. But usually those people are probably going to be leaning more toward PC anyway. Um,
Normally, yeah, the master race thing. Yeah, that's yep.
yeah. So, you know.
Fuck it. Nobody cares about the PlayStation Pro. While we're on stuff that I don't care about, let's talk about that Mass Effect trailer.
Okay, well, first of all, with
Can we please?
can we let's set the stage for this, because
Dude, is there a stage to set?
I need to set a stage for this so that
Okay,
you
you
get
know
the full
what? Set a
context.
stage, because I gave up.
All right, I'm going to set the stage for this. Now,
Go
the
ahead.
PlayStation meeting, for whatever fucking reason, they are really pushing this PS4 Pro thing, and that's why it was important we open with that, because everything that happened after that announcement was all centered around PS4 Pro. Now, as we reported not too long ago, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, the latest from the BioWare devs was that they weren't going to release new footage until Battlefield was already out. And so they were looking at probably 2 or 3 months, which made sense because usually BioWare releases stuff for whatever fucked up reason on N7 Day, as they call it, November 7th. The N7 badge from Mass Effect. I don't get why it's so important to release things on that day, like it's some kind of fucking state holiday now. I don't get it, but
I mean, I'll take the day off, just cause. I'll just take the day off.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's nice that they have their own day that people can look forward to getting some information and such. It just seems to me like, though, if you're going to release stuff, it makes more sense to do it at a gaming convention like E3, PAX West, PAX East, something where a lot of people are there, even Gamescom. It doesn't matter. But N7 Day, okay. So they are planning to release something on that day. But yesterday, the BioWare people... So all of their Twitters, like the devs, everybody that day were talking about, oh yeah, oh, what's today? Oh, it's September 7th. Oh, how about that? So they were all like,
It's like, wait, we don't care about September 7th. The fuck, guys? Why do you want us to care about September 7th?
No, they were just dropping hints like left and right. There's going to be some news coming out about Mass Effect, and
Weird that we can't discuss that on the forums, though.
so they get up there. I didn't actually see the press conference portion of this, but I did watch the trailer. I know you watched the trailer as well. And so they get up and they show this trailer. And the first thing I'll say about it is the weird thing about this trailer is Aaron Flynn is doing some commentary over it. And he starts off by saying, I want to show you some footage of Mass Effect on the new PS4 Neo or whatever the hell they were calling it.
Yeah, it was a fucking ad right away.
Yeah, it was like, oh, this isn't a trailer. This is going to be a graphics thing. So he literally says in this, he says, if you're not watching this on a 4K monitor, go find one and watch it on. Like I've got a 4K monitor just lying around.
I got those kind of friends that are just ready for me to come over and use their 4K TVs to watch a fucking Mass Effect trailer. Yeah, let's go.
I mean, the thing is, if I had a 4K monitor, chances are I'd be watching it on that. Okay, I, why would I be watching it on something other than that if I had one? So him coming out here and saying, if you're not watching, he didn't say if you don't own one, then you won't get the full. Like that would have been one thing, but instead he said, if you're not watching it on a 4K monitor, go get one, go watch it on it. Like, like people can go do that. I mean, how detached from reality is Aaron Flynn right now? I So yeah, it was going to be a graphics, a look at 4K graphics for the PlayStation Neo for Mass Effect. That's the setup for this, and it was pre-alpha footage.
Pre-alpha.
Yeah,
Pre-alpha graphics on a 4K TV with this PlayStation Neo bullshit. And this is pre-alpha business, all right? We're ready.
and to make it all worse is that it not only was it not really a trailer, it doesn't really show you gameplay. I mean, I guess
Although it does say at the very end it is gameplay footage.
I mean, technically, it is gameplay. Okay, technically, yes, it is gameplay because it would require a controller to cause your character to walk. That's
Right.
essentially what this was. It was somebody walking around, showing off the environment, and right away, um, for me, when I looked at it, I could already tell they were using the Frostbite engine because I played Dragon Age Inquisition, and so everything from the way that little circle happens on the it looked like that was a Y when I saw it.
Yeah.
So that wasn't the PS4. PS4 doesn't have a Y button.
What are you talking about when like the investigate button?
Yeah.
It was an A button, so it could have been on the PC
Okay,
or
so
the
why the hell
Xbox.
were they showing a PC at the PlayStation Meet? What? I thought they were
Yeah,
showing
because
the.
it was the A button for investigate.
But I thought they
Yeah.
were going to show us the.
You need
They were
popcorn.
doing this for the PS4.
Listen.
I don't even care.
Yeah,
I,
I mean, we probably weren't seeing it right. We didn't have the 4K TV
it's
to see it
very.
properly. It was probably X, and we just couldn't see it. It looks like
It
A.
might have been. You know what? I
We're
didn't have.
probably misinformed. You know, we can't
Aaron,
see. We don't have a 4K
Aaron
TV.
Flynn was right. You have to have a 4K.
You have to, or everything looks like Xbox. Sorry.
Oh my god. So basically, it's walking around footage. The character. This is the male version of the main character. Uh,
I'll post a link to this too on the bottom.
and he investigates some things. Now, the positive I will say about this is it did look like a nice environment. I liked the visuals, but I also like the visuals in Dragon Age Inquisition, and I still shit on that game all the time. Visuals aren't
Yeah.
everything. I'm not big on visuals, but they do help set the pace. They do help set the tone and atmosphere and all that.
Mhm.
Before I say anything else about this trailer, though, why don't you go ahead and give us some of your early impressions on it as well?
The first time I watched it, I was immediately turned off by the narration. I was like, okay, this is nice. Like you're shitting on me. Um, and it looked nice, but I wasn't impressed with it.
So, what specifically were you not impressed with?
I thought the atmosphere didn't wow me at all. Like it didn't feel like Mass Effect. Like when I'm looking at it, I was like, this doesn't feel like Mass Effect to me. It doesn't look like Mass Effect to me. And I wasn't thinking like, oh, it needs to look like all these worlds that I've seen in the other games. It just didn't feel right. And then when you're moving around, like, because the world kind of like when you're walking around on certain platforms, they kind of come down like blocks, and it's all very fluid and nice looking. It's somehow, I can't put my finger on it. It felt like a rip off of something else. And then I was getting like when you're investigating, at one point like he shows, like he pulls up something and investigates this item in front of him, and he scans it. And then it just every little thing I saw happen reminded me of other games and other things, and I just wasn't like, I found myself skipping around through it because I didn't want to watch it. The first time I watched it, I didn't sit through the whole thing. I was just like, all right, and then I skipped to like the shit at the end and watched that. But I wasn't impressed by it. It's like, yeah, it's a cool looking atmosphere, but it feels like stuff I've already seen, and it doesn't feel like Mass Effect. It just didn't feel right. to me. It felt I don't know, it just felt really weird, and I felt like I was seeing a lot of stuff from other games that I've played recently. So I had a hard time watching it. I sat through it again a couple hours before we did this, and I actually watched the whole thing, and I still am like, I don't really. I just. I'm not impressed by it. I don't think it's that great.
You know, when it first started, I liked what I saw at the very, very early start, but very quickly I started to kind of drift away from it because I felt like it had, like I said, I felt like the atmosphere looked really neat and cool.
It does look.
It almost reminded me of the collector station, I believe, from part 2. The what am I thinking of? It's been so long, but the place where all the little guys are constantly being assuming direct control, you know.
Yeah. The Harbinger
Yes,
business.
yes,
I know what you're talking about. If you guys don't, you should fucking play the games.
But yeah, I mean, I felt like at first it was very, very much Mass Effect-y, you know. Right away, though, and here's the thing, though, as far as the engine they're using Frostbite, so immediately my mind kept going to Dragon Age Inquisition because of the way the world was kind of set up, because of how it looked like some of the controls were probably working. So as it goes further and further, and again, you know, we didn't really see anything, so it's almost hard to give a legitimate impression of pre-alpha footage that's just mostly walking around and interacting with the environment a little bit. It's not like Mass Effect 2. With Mass Effect 2, they showed us the Thane scene. They showed us early gameplay of that, where Thane comes down and kills this Asari woman that you're going to go meet, and then you're trying to battle your way through things. And so they showed you combat, because we haven't seen combat. We don't even know how combat's going to work. And one of my biggest fears right now is that they're not going to go the shooter route. Because if they're using Frostbite, I don't know if that means, are they going to go Inquisition route where they try to turn this more and more into an MMO? Or are they actually going to stick to the shooter mechanics? Because the way they've got the character positioned, now granted, like in Mass Effect 3, I remember, like, you could see most of Shepard whenever he or she was in like the Citadel environment or whatever, but whenever they were on a mission, it was a little bit closer to them.
It was that almost over the shoulder thing.
Yeah, like and I don't remember what he or she would look like if they didn't have their guns drawn out, but if they had their gun drawn out, then yeah, it would be very close to them. But granted, the character didn't have any guns drawn out, so I don't know if this was a mission where you don't use combat, or if this wasn't even a mission where that's even... Because there's no setup for this. It's early gameplay, it's pre-alpha, we don't really know anything. The thing that was the most strange for me was right toward the end of this thing. The Asari character, when they're all running away, that Asari character does this weird little hop skip toward the end. I don't know if you watched it.
Yeah.
I actually rewound it like about 4 or 5 times so I could keep rewatching that. Because I was like, I've seen this before. I've seen this animation before. And at first I was thinking like it must be from Mass Effect. But the more and more I watched it, I'm almost convinced this is an animation that they took from Inquisition. Because I swear I've seen that hop skip thing, and it's so out of place in this footage because there's no reason for her to be doing that. Unless her character has some weird center of gravity issues. Like, if you go back and watch it, she's not tripping over anything. The building doesn't appear to be moving. There's nothing actually shooting at her.
She's just running.
She's just hopping, skipping. She's kind of skips on one foot. And I think that animation came from Inquisition, because I know that I've seen it somewhere. I just can't pinpoint where. And so I'm like, are they just going to start porting in some animations? Or what exactly is going on here? I don't know. But I think in 7 days when they're going to show us an actual gameplay trailer, because this was more, like I said, this is more like them showing graphics and shit that nobody really cares about.
No.
I wish they just hadn't shown anything at all after I saw it. I was kind of like, well, just hold off till you have something. I mean, if you don't have something worth showing, which this was not worth showing.
No, it wasn't, because I was bummed out after I watched it. I was like, well, that was a waste of my time. Like, I wanted to see it, but it just, when I sit through something like a whole series of games that I've loved and I don't even want to watch it and I'm skipping through the video, it just made me feel bad. I'm like, I don't want this.
Now,
it's like, why did you show me this?
BioWare did release some interesting information about the game, either today or yesterday. And they were talking about how the main character in this game is Well, they're actually. You remember the original trailer where we saw like the woman waking up at the very end of the trailer, and then
Yes.
on this one we have like a male character walking around. Well, in the
Yep.
actual game, both of those characters will be in the game because they're going to be a brother and sister type thing. And
Interesting.
you
Okay.
choose which one you want to be. Like you could be the sister character or the brother character, and the other one's just in the game.
Can we customize them?
Right. And so
Yeah.
that I would assume there's like a story thing at the very beginning where you choose which character you are, so that you're kind of like, so maybe that character interacts with you a little bit. I don't really know how they're working that. They also revealed that in the original trailer, way back, like not the last one, but the one before that, when they were just showing like screen caps and footage,
Yep.
there was a character, a male character in armor, and they said, "Oh yeah, that character there, that's your father." So I don't know if this is going to be like a family expedition type of storyline. I don't really know what, or if maybe you're both trying to go find your father who's missing in space. There's a lot of interesting stuff that could come from that. I also think that if you're having that family type of bond in there, it kind of takes me back to Dragon Age 2, where something very similar happened, where depending on what kind of character you created, either your brother or sister at the very beginning would die. And it just depended on what kind of character you created, and then the other one would join you. So that's kind of takes me back to that. I'm thinking, well, there's some cool little stuff they could do with that. It's an interesting idea. I'm all for it. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Because we're out of the age of Shepherd, so it can be like they can actually start you off in the game, maybe both characters with helmets on, and you don't actually have to pick a gender or anything until a certain point in the game. So, it's just something interesting in there. I don't really know what they're going to do with it. That's all they've revealed so far.
I know. I'm still kind of hurting every time somebody mentions like, "Oh, the age of Shepherd is gone."
Well, I mean,
I don't know why it still hurts every time. I'm just like,
well, I'm kind of okay with that because the crew now at BioWare is so different that I don't know if they could actually handle Shepard.
oh yeah, no. I mean, it's fine. Like I know all good things must come to an end,
And
and it was fine. Like I might be one of the few people that was like okay with all that, but it just hurts to hear, and I'm not particularly excited anymore about Andromeda. Like
well, my feeling
I'm just kind of like I hope we get something good on N7. Like I hope we do.
my feeling on the game has been this, that I'm just looking forward to playing it. I'm not expecting it to be great. I'm not expecting it to be anywhere near as good as the original. I'm just expecting something that's fun to play. If they can deliver on that, I'm okay with them. If they failed in that regard, if they just churn out Mass Effect Inquisition, then I'm turned off. And EA already said they're not going to release the original trilogy remastered. They're not going to do that for whatever reason. I'm like, you know what? That's a cash cow right there for you, buddy. But they don't want to do
I
it.
would have bought it. I would have bought that immediately.
I would have bought it too. I mean, to
I
have
would have
them
been
all,
like, "Are you fucking serious?" Yes.
just have them
Yeah.
all on my PS4. Of course, I'd go out and buy it.
Yeah, they're nuts. They're stupid for not doing that. Well, they don't know what they're doing.
They
They
really
don't know
don't.
what they're doing anymore. I just don't think they know what they're doing.
You know who else doesn't know what they're doing?
God, who?
These cats over at the Ark game. The developers of Ark.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So they have been doing some very interesting things over there.
Interesting, yes.
So
Yes.
to set the scene on Ark. Ark, for anyone who doesn't know, Ark Survival Evolved, an early access game on Steam.
Which people forget. People forget this game is early access.
People forget a lot of things, but it's actually
Yeah.
the most successful of all the early access titles. In fact, it's been the one that most people will point to and say, oh, look what you can accomplish with early access. Now, the Ark developers have been through their ups and downs. We've mentioned them before. We've been on their side before when they were engaged in a lawsuit that was coming at them from another developer. But they've done something recently that's just really hard to defend, and that is that they have released a paid DLC for their early access title for $20. And to give you an idea, early access, when you buy early access, what you're basically doing is you're spending $20 or so for a copy of the game. That's a copy of the game for at release. You'll get the full version of the game. Everything they've worked on to that point will be yours. Well, they've kind of shirked that. They've kind of gone, you know what? We're not going to really do that. We're going to release a DLC pack. Go ahead and send that out to you. It's going to have features in it like a weather system and such, which I'm told by other players. Players have been telling me that the weather system was promised to be in the finished game, but it's not going to be anymore. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard this from quite a few people. And so apparently this new DLC that they just released, which you have to pay an additional $20 for, it has things that maybe were supposed to be in the original game. And even if they weren't, they were clearly devoting resources to finishing a DLC pack when they probably should have been finishing their main game. Because they're basically saying that, yes, we spent some time making other portions of the game, and we're going to release that for extra money, even though we already promised you a copy of the finished game. So instead of $20, now it costs you $40. And the developers are going, you know what? Hey, you're still getting a good deal. In fact, their QA guy got in trouble on Discord. He basically called people cheap for complaining about it.
Really?
Yeah, he did. He had to apologize for it.
Oh.
I'm surprised the guy didn't get fired. I would have fired him right away. You don't.
Oh, yeah, he wouldn't. He wouldn't be working for me anymore.
In fact,
I'd be like, "Well, you're gone."
he said it in a lot worse, rude way. And then I remember what he said right after. He was like, "Well, you guys don't know what it's like to constantly get berated and constantly." I'm like, "Listen, pal. Anybody who's worked customer service knows what that's like. I've worked customer service. I know Shake's worked customer service. And you know what you do? You just go with the flow. You do what you got to do at the end of the day to make your bread, and you go home. That's what you do. You buckle up like a man, and you fucking put on your goddamn big boy pants, and you go out into the real world. Because I'm sorry, man, but if your customers are complaining that much about something, you need to listen to them, even if what they're saying is stupid.
It means there's a problem.
Probably means
Doesn't matter how it's presented to you, regardless of whether or not they're being assholes about it or just generally coming to you with the concern. They're all coming to you with the same concern. You're doing something wrong.
And so ARC developers are trying to they've made public comments about how, their plan all along was to release new ARCs that people would pay for. And I'm like, hey man, that's cool. You could do that after the game is released. Like, this wouldn't even be an issue if they didn't release this DLC until after the game is out. Let's say it's been out for 6 months and they release a DLC for $20. I wouldn't be saying anything. I'd have my mouth
No,
shut.
that's expected now.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? If people want to buy it, that's their business. But instead, they're releasing this thing before the game's even released. That's a new one. Releasing DLC for an unreleased game. That.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time I've seen it. Yes.
I mean, that's worse than horse armor.
And I just find it weird that they do that because it's the only early access game I've seen that I know you didn't go to any of the PAX conventions or any of that. But I did. ARC had a fucking massive booth. They had a giant T-Rex that you could sit on and take pictures with. They had 20 different computers that everyone was playing ARC on. They had a live cast of people talking about it. They're not hurting for money. They did not need to do this DLC. They could have waited and just added it into the game like they're supposed to do because your game is early access. But the thing is, I don't think it's actually early access anymore. I think it's done, and they're just leaving it under the title of early access at this point. It's not an early access game. This is just what it is, and we need to accept it.
I'm not convinced it's actually done, but I think they're going to. I think they're going to.
There's just no way.
Because
it's stupid. They have the hugest booth at PAX. They have the biggest booth out of anything there, and it's an early access title. It's not a finished game, but yet they're going to release DLC.
Well, what I meant by that is the game I played a year or two ago, when I first got this game, I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was shortly after it launched. That game is the same game I played a few days ago when I played it for the last time, just before I uninstalled it and got rid of it.
Yeah, the only thing I've noticed different seeing, because I don't play it, but my sister does, is I've seen new dinosaurs, but that's it.
Hey, good for them. I wish they would fix the AI on their dinosaurs instead of having this back and forth, walking back and forth.
Yeah, they're odd.
It's just weird. I mean, the whole game is just, at this point, I'm just like, okay, well, you got a broken game that you need to fix. You're releasing DLC for extra $20. It's such a cash grab, and it's so shameless. And the fact that the developers don't seem to understand that. I think this is going from being one of the biggest success stories to becoming a huge flop. consumers are already outraged. They're already protesting it. And I mean, I don't know if there's anything else to say about it other than, I'm surprised that they did this because it just seems like such a stupid thing to do. But, I mean, if I was in charge over there, even if I was going to do something this shady, like I said, I would have waited. I would have been like, hey, let's hold off 6 months, release it then. And then we've got the goodwill of the community. Because then anybody who's complaining about it are going to be seen as little crybabies, which they would be. I mean, that's what they'd be seen as, because if you're going to release DLC after the main game and complain about that, I'm sorry, but that's the new age. That's what happens now. No one's going to complain about that. But releasing DLC before the game launches, and when they've already been guaranteed a copy of the finished game. And remember when they released that free-to-play thing with Ark, and then they had to take it back? So they deleted it.
Yes.
Because they said, well, we didn't really know what we were doing. We thought we could do a free to play thing, but I guess they weren't making any money with it. So they said, no more. I mean, it's so blatant. These guys are such sleazebags. I don't know.
They're just hungry for money.
Oh, they're hungry for money.
It just irritates me because a developer who's not hungry for money.
Who is that?
That would be the developers of the Isle.
I knew we were going there. Okay, let's go to the Isle.
I'm just saying. They've already made a game that's better than Ark. And they're appalled at what the developers of Ark are doing. They're like, yeah, we're not going to release DLC for a game that's not done, just so you know. And they say it all the time now because now it's funny. Like, it's just like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, they've been making jokes at Ark's expense ever since, and rightfully so. I mean, It's such an easy target now. I mean, why not?
And if you're in the Isle Discord, and because the Discord shows what you're playing. If you're playing Ark, the developers will immediately attack you in the chat. They're just like, "What are you doing? I'm ashamed. Like, why are you playing that?" And then or they'll see that like you're doing the DLC, and they're like, "Really? You paid for that? I'm upset with you. You could have just donated it to us. You could have helped us out." It's just it's just upsetting. And then you've got games like The Isle that aren't getting enough attention and aren't getting the money they need, but yet Ark is just fucking a cash cow. Drives me insane. I don't understand.
Well, it's the way of the future, as they say. I'm still surprised Steam has movies now. Like, it drives me crazy. Like, I'll see, like...
I've never seen these, so...
I think you can turn it off in the settings. And
maybe mine was never on.
Yeah, that might be it, because mine would show up on occasion. I'd click on it thinking, oh, that looks like a really fun game. Turns out it's like a movie. It's like, oh, well, damn. I don't get it. I wish Steam would remove their movie stuff, but whatever. Steam, I guess Steam is lacking money too.
Yeah, it's... it's so irritating.
But speaking of streaming services, I want to throw this out again because I've been mentioning it everywhere I go. But Netflix will soon have a series based on the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, the Glow Wrestling Federation, starring Allison Brie and Mark Maron. And
woo! Sorry.
And so that's going to be coming to Netflix. I don't know if it's like going to be just a 1-season thing or if it's going to be like multiple seasons, but I'm super excited about it. I think that'll make a great show on Netflix, and I think it's going to be like a behind-the-scenes type of historical type look at it, but probably based on more a fictional version of it. Probably, I don't really know all the facts and figures because they haven't really released a lot of information about it. But
no, they have not. But you've been right on top of it.
As soon as I saw like that, it was I saw a news title. It said Allison Brie signs on for Netflix wrestling show, and I was like, Allison Brie from Mad Men and Community, really? And so I had to read it, and sure enough, there it was. So I look forward to it. Did you ever watch Glow Wrestling?
You know what? You know the answer. No. No.
It was such a staple of the 80s,
Yeah, I wasn't alive yet. I had not blessed the earth with my presence at that time. I wasn't here.
In fact, one of the wrestlers on there went on to eventually wrestle for the WWF. Yeah. So how about that?
You and your fucking facts. Well, Bill Nye's getting a show on Netflix too.
Oh, is he? Is it is
Yeah,
it
in
is it wrestling based?
no,
It should be.
it's called Bill Nye Saves the World, and yes, he spends the whole show. It's like a talk show, and each episode he will debunk something or like prove it with science. So it's the same show we've seen 1,000 times on TV, but it's Bill Nye, so it's gonna be different,
Bill,
right?
the science guy.
Bill. Yeah, it's gonna be great. And then we have season 2 of what is it? Stranger Things coming out in 2017 as well. It's going to be 9 episodes long.
Only 9?
It is confirmed. Well, the last one was 8.
I know.
So, they're upping it.
They're going to go up an episode every year.
We're also getting Sherlock season 4.
I haven't seen Sherlock season 3. So
well, where the fuck are
I am way behind.
Yeah, we're getting season 4. I have not seen. They did a special episode like last year called the Abominable Bride that only released in theaters. It was like a little thing for them to do in between. I have to see that first. But season 4 is coming out, so we've got 3 really cool things that I'm excited for. Like I could give a fuck less about Bill Nye, I guess, but other people care about it, so I figured I'd mention it. I didn't know if you were a Bill fan.
I used to be way back in the day, like back in his.
Like when you were a kid.
Yeah, like when I get home from school, I'd go watch Bill Nye, and he would teach me something about the world. And I still like Bill Nye. I watched his debate he did a while back with a creationist or whatever, and that was pretty entertaining to say the least.
Yeah, I don't care. And they also, did you hear about the stuff about Star Wars Episode 9?
I've heard a couple of things, but what did you hear?
I was reading, now mind you, it's been a couple days since I read this, but that Luke Skywalker might still be in it in Episode 9, but when they did this thing where it shows him like shaving off his facial hair and all that stuff, and I forget what he said, but there's like speculation that he's gonna die.
I heard the speculation. I heard that some people were saying, well, he might just be a ghost when he comes back. But nobody really knows what's happening at the next movie. I mean,
well, they are speculating 2 movies from now.
I know, but I'm like, is it such a good idea to kill off Luke? Luke Skywalker.
I mean, he's got to die someday.
I mean, it doesn't mean he has to die tomorrow. I mean, good Lord, Yoda.
He's not even that great of a person.
Yoda lived like 800 years or so. I mean,
well, he's also like a weird species.
Well, weird. Wow, that is the most specious thing you've ever said about.
I am specious. I don't know what the fuck he is. So I'm just, I assume they all live that long.
Well,
right? Don't all of his, what is he? Like, don't they all, like, have that length of life? Or is it because he's, like, a Jedi?
I don't know. I think if any person lived that long, they'd look like Yoda.
So you think Yoda was once a person?
I think it's possible. I mean, 900 years.
Okay, no. There was never a time when that thing was a person. Because even, like, when I first watched and met Yoda, I didn't think that was Yoda. I was just like, who's this fucking crazy person? Take us to Yoda, please. And then I was like, oh, God. That is Yoda. That's a shame. I was, like, kind of, like, nervous. I was like, this is Yoda? What? I don't but does he ever even say what he is?
No, he doesn't say what species he is.
And you don't ever see another one?
No, I don't think they even revealed it in the expanded universe back when that was a thing. I don't recall that. I don't recall it. I'm now, if they did or not, I don't know. But
because I don't recall ever seeing another thing that looked like him.
The only thing that came close to looking like him was in the prequels. Like at the very end, you see this weird-looking thing standing next to Yoda. It doesn't look quite similar enough to Yoda to be Yoda, but it's short. He's got long ears. It looks weird. So.
Well, everything in the prequels looks weird. The prequels are just a weird place to be. I want to know what Yoda is now. I need insight on this.
It's probably just a really moldy jelly bean.
That's fucked up.
What?
It's just grown into this living thing. It does explain how weird he is. I just want to know what he is. I just don't think that could have ever been a person unless, like, his Jedi powers or some shit made him turn into this crustacean.
You never know. He might have. I don't.
I have friends who have a lot of knowledge on this. I'm going to ask them.
Well, you should.
Well, he does a whole podcast all about Star Wars, so I'm going to ask him some questions.
Yeah, you need to ask him about Yoda.
I need to be like, hey, I have some questions. What is Yoda?
And why isn't Yoda a hero in Battlefront?
Why isn't he a hero in Battlefront?
Yeah, maybe they'll release him.
Oh my god, can I just say a spoiler?
Wait, what kind of spoiler are we talking?
I have a spoiler for the new Star Wars movie, because it's not even new anymore.
Oh, okay, spoiler alert for episode...
Spoiler alert
7.
For episode 7. Like, they put Han Solo in there, and he's dead.
Well, yes.
Like, you think they'd take him out? Darth Vader's in there, he's dead. Spoiler alert.
What do you mean? Wait, what are you talking about? Take him out. What are you talking about?
Like, they have all these characters in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, all these heroes and villains and stuff. Like, you don't have Yoda in there, even though he's extremely iconic. But you have all these other heroes and villains that are fucking dead.
Yeah, but they're not dead during the time period that Battlefront takes place in.
But neither is Yoda.
That's what I'm saying. But I think that when they release the Death Star, I think it's going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think that'll be the next hero.
Oh my god. Will he look like Ewan McGregor?
No, it's going to be the original series. So it'll be Sir Alec Guinness.
I mean, that's fine, I guess.
Why would it be Ewan McGregor in a non-prequel?
I mean, I don't know. I just got a little bit excited. It's fine. Whatever. Just I'll let it be.
Granted, I wish they had prequel stuff in there because it would give us more maps, more battlefields, more everything. But whatever.
I just want the maps to look like grossly put together CGI. That's what I want. I want those maps to look cartoony as possible, but I don't want to see Jar Jar.
I want to see Jar Jar though. I think he should be a hero.
You want him to come in as a hero? I don't think he's worthy of that. I think he should just be a character, like, a model you can be all the time. Just have an army of Jar Jars.
Okay. What?
No.
Wait. Okay.
I don't think he's hero worthy. I've never thought of him as worthy of much of anything, but I just don't think he should be like something that you can earn and then run around and fight as. Like, what's his special ability? Accidentally shooting you with a cannon?
Well, I don't know. He's a Gungan.
Exactly.
He's a Gungan.
All the other have as many reasonable special abilities, and then it's like, what do you do with Jar Jar? He accidentally hits people. He might miss, but sometimes he'll hit his target. When he does, it's gonna cause some trouble.
He's a Gungan. Gungans do things, okay?
You say Gungan like it. Oh, it's such an unattractive word. It just sounds like phlegm.
It sounds beautiful, actually. It's French.
It's not French. It's stupid.
Bonjour, Misa.
We also got. I don't know if you ever played Eve.
No.
No, that's free to play now. If you're.
Yeah. I saw that it was free. I haven't played it though.
Okay, so that was...
but Star Trek Online coming to consoles yesterday. Oh my god.
Yeah, I heard that. I was very excited. I can't download it.
I know.
But...
I'm so angry at you right now. I'm like, I downloaded it just yesterday. I was like, oh, we gotta play this. And then Shake's like, nope, not gonna do it.
Listen, I'm moving. I'm gonna get on this train next week.
Oh, Shake. So, oh my goodness, Shake.
I'm really excited. I've never played it, so.
It'll be interesting playing it with a controller. I don't know how well that's going to work out, but we will see.
I think they've put some thought into it, though.
I would hope so, because otherwise it's going to be a train wreck. But granted, it's free to play.
Right, free to play, so who cares?
Now, they need to put Star Wars Galaxies on there. They need to make a console version of that.
I heard somebody else. Oh, it was Dondi talking about it. I don't know what Star Wars Galaxies is, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant the Old Republic. What the hell am I talking about? I played Galaxies, but Galaxy doesn't even exist anymore.
I don't know. I just remember him talking about it the other day.
Yeah, it was one of the earliest of MMOs, and it did a lot of things.
The Old Republic was fun.
Wait, what?
The Old Republic was fun.
The older, yeah, I know that, but I mean, the Galaxies when it first launched it did a lot of things nobody else had done at that point. But yes, the Old Republic is the one I meant should go to consoles, because that one's fun just to solo through, just to play some storyline. That's kind of what I do with it.
I played it for 9 hours straight.
I played it for about 1 billion hours straight.
Yeah, haven't touched it since.
I haven't either, but I need to go.
Like, it's good, but like I don't know. I don't have the drive to go back to it really.
I mean, it requires time and patience, but I like the story, so I kind of need to go back. I need to finish off my Sith Warrior storyline, and that'll be that.
Well, you already know what I picked.
Yeah, you picked a bounty hunter.
Yep, couldn't help myself. Do you know like what race I picked?
Let me see. You probably picked the horny ones.
Yeah.
I love how that's
me so well.
That's my description of them, the horny ones.
Yeah, you know, the horny ones. Yeah, the horny ones are what I go for. The horny bounty hunter. That's me. Welcome to my world, nerds. But yeah, that's what I went with. And it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I thought the fighting was really simple.
It is a very simple game.
It was pretty simply put together, and I found myself getting a little bit bored with that. Even the first, I don't know if I can call it a dungeon, but that was pretty simple.
You know, I haven't done any dungeons. I've just been soloing my way through it, and I got to like level 30 something. And so that's how simple it is. But the reason I did that was because I really got into my character. I was doing things in the storyline, following things with the story, and I kept thinking about the next element in the story. It was just, I've never really done that with an MMO before, so it was fun. It needs to come to consoles. But it's not.
It might, but it probably won't.
No, it's not going to, because BioWare would have to do it.
Oh.
I wonder what their next game is going to be, BioWare. I know they're working on something. Other than Mass Effect, obviously.
I didn't know they were working on it.
I think they are, because I think they had to...
You would think they would be if this one's almost done.
Well, yeah, not only that, but I think their original team who worked on the Mass Effect before this new team, I think they have to be working on something. Because it's not the same team that's working on Mass Effect, but they gave that to a new team. So it's kind of like, hey guys, why don't you use the Frostbite engine? The engine we're using for Dragon Age Inquisition, because that's such an amazing game. You guys are going to love Frostbite.
You just have really pushed me away from ever wanting to go near Inquisition.
No, you need to play it. You need to play.
I'm gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna play through the first one again. I just can't. But I gotta do the second and third one.
Let me be all serious here for a second, if I may. You might really enjoy Inquisition. There is a huge possibility you might love it. My issues with Inquisition mostly stem through the combat system, which, in my opinion, is perhaps one of the worst combat systems I've ever had in a single player game. Now, storyline wise, and if you're just invested in the story, this is why I went back to like Star Wars, The Old Republic. Like, I'm so invested in the story, I didn't really care about anything else. So if you get like really into the story, if you get really into the romance angles, if you get really into all the friendships you can have with companions, and if that's what you get sucked into, then none of the stuff that pisses me off about the game might even matter to you. So that's why I say you need to play Dragon Age Inquisition, give it a chance, and come away from it with your own view on it. So you and I might see it as night and day, and then we can have a fun little debate and argument on the Prattlecast. We could do that, Shake.
You want me to fight you on the
Prattlecast? Oh, we're gonna fight, Shake. Oh, we could bill it too. We could have like Madison.
We do need something to fight about.
It'd be Madison Square Garden.
I haven't had a fight with you in a while. We should argue. I mean, because we mindlessly argue all the time, but now we'll have something of substance to argue about.
Oh my goodness.
That'll be good. And when we play Andromeda, we'll have that to argue about.
See, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, hey, what if I love Andromeda and you hate it?
Right? That'll be a conversation. What if I hate Star Trek Online, which I won't?
You know what? You might. I mean, it's not like if you're comparing it to like Star Wars MMO, I don't think it's as good as that. But it does some things that other MMOs, at least when it released, were not doing, like the whole ground combat plus the space combat thing.
I feel like it's something I could appreciate a lot more when I was younger, because I'm so jaded by MMOs now.
Yeah, probably.
Like now, like for me now, nothing compares to Final Fantasy. Nothing. Well, like that game has my soul. Like I'm getting back into it in a couple weeks. But like I was a WoW person for 10 years and then an FF player. So now when I play any other MMO, I'm like, this is uncomfortable.
Well, I recently went back to Star Trek Online like a couple of months ago because I hadn't played it in years. And I'll say that they have drastically improved it. Like way back in the day when I first played it, the intro level was very bare bones and kind of just lame. Now there's a whole storyline involved with it. So there's like stories going on, and if you, depending on which faction you choose, because now there are three factions. Originally, it was pretty much you could be Starfleet and have a story, or you could be Klingon and engage in PvP. And that was kind of your options
Yeah.
at launch. Now they've got stories for Klingons, Romulans, and Starfleet. So it's a different world. So I think it's.
I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try it.
Well, it's free. It's
In
free.
about 2
So
weeks here. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
you know.
See what I think of it. If anything, it'll at least just be fun.
Another game I'm looking forward to when they release the free version, because they haven't released the free version yet, but it's going to be the Tomorrow Children. I was going to pick it up, but I realized it's only the Founders Pack right now, which you can pick up for about $20. But they should be releasing a free version soon because it's going to be a free to play.
Can you sell me on this? Tell me what this is.
I don't know if I can sell you on it or not. It's such a well. I mean, here's the thing: it's going to be free. That's why I want to play it. Because
So cheap.
I saw some people playing it on like a video years ago, and it looked
Years ago.
yeah, like a year or two ago. I can't remember.
Oh.
And
okay. You make it sound like this thing's ancient. Jesus.
and it's very different. I don't know if it'll be fun or not. It's basically like, okay, so everybody spawns in and you're this avatar character and you all look exactly alike. You've probably seen the character, this girl character with this she's got this weird doll-like look to her. And basically
Yeah, I've seen it.
and like I think you can change like the outfit depending on what kind of thing you specialize in. So there's like some military-based ones and otherwise. And basically, you are working in a community of other players to build things and to do things. And it's hard to put into words, but like there are sections where you go to get stuff, and if you're like picking something up, you have to wait in line. So you get in line behind other players, and each player takes a turn as you go through the line. It's like a communism simulator, I think is the best way to put it. So
Oh, what I've always wanted.
it's like you're in the Soviet Union, but it's like the future and like something has survived, and so you're like these ghosts of people that have come back for the glorious Soviet Union to build this shit, and you fight monsters. But it's very that's why I don't want to spend money on it, because I don't even know if this is going to be fun. But when they release the free version, I'm going to be playing it just to check it out.
Can your group turn on each other?
Well, here's the thing. If you attack your own stuff and if you attack things or cause a nuisance, then you get like penalized. You like get locked up or something. It's a weird system. You'll have to read up on it. I read up on it the other day, but it's meant to prevent griefing. So who knows? So if you're like going out and you're trying to like destroy the structures people are building, then yeah, you will be penalized for that. You know. I mean, not.
It's an interesting idea.
I mean, I think they should just put them in labor camps like they would in the real communist countries, right? But
that's going to offend people.
oh, of course.
You didn't have that labor camp properly put into the game. That's not what they looked like. That it's just going to happen. Now, I'm wondering, is this like so? There's obviously going to be a bunch of different servers with people on them. I would assume.
I don't know.
I mean, no. This is me. I'm not asking you. I'm just saying it. I would assume that there's going to be a bunch of different servers because having one big mega server for every player doesn't make sense. So, there's no way this game could be like a monthly payment game. It's a one-time thing.
Yeah, it's a free-to-play game. It's you.
That's so strange to me. Why would developers make a game that is then free? Is there microtransactions?
Yes, of course there's microtransactions. So if you wanted to like buy the currency in the game, you'd have to actually buy these packs, or you have to earn them in game.
Ah,
you know, like GTA has that shit now, where the GTA has like the shark card you can buy.
Arcade was like that too.
Yeah, so everybody does that, but you know, that's why I'm like, you don't have to engage in it, but if you want to, there it is. Am I going to spend money on it? No, but I will.
Black Desert Online did that too. It's free to play, but you need you can buy the stuff in the game.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. Even Star Wars: The Old Republic is like that. They have microtransactions.
Stupid.
Of course, I remember when that game was a monthly payment game. Yeah, I bought that game.
Yeah, now WoW has microtransactions.
Good Lord. WoW is still around. Jesus.
You can play it for free now.
Really?
Yep, if you make enough gold in the game, you can use the gold you make in game to pay for your monthly sub.
Oh, that is so sad.
Yep, and you can start off at level 100 in the new expansion. I am so because I'll watch my boyfriend play it, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, because I remember putting my like heart and soul into that game, and now I'm like, this game means nothing. This game has sold itself to the devil. Like, that's what has happened to World of Warcraft. It's so shitty. And it's amazing the game's been around for so long, and it still looks like trash. Like, it just looks so bad. It looks like somebody made everything out of Play-Doh.
They still haven't done a graphical overhaul or anything. They just...
They did upgrade the graphics, but it wasn't amazing. Like, you're just like, oh, okay, thanks, but it still looks like Play-Doh.
And when did that game come out? Was that 2005?
It was over 10 years ago.
So yeah, like I remember what graphics looked back then, and yeah,
I think it's a little bit older than 2005.
I don't know, it might be. I don't know how old it is. I'm just guessing, but like yeah, even as back as like 2003 or so, those graphics, God help me.
They've never been updated, and they were once. And I remember them showing us the side by sides. I wasn't playing it anymore because they did that around Mist of Pandaria, somewhere in there. And that's when you could start at like level 80 if you wanted to. You could have an instant level up. And now there's the instant levels to 100, and you can do trial runs of different classes in like full gear and stuff to see if they're what you like. I remember having to level up a class, and you got what you got. And that's how the game fucking works.
You know,
but now you can just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try out this class at level 100 real quick, just make sure I really want it, you know?
well, I think that they've kind of realized that MMOs have evolved. I mean, you take something like Final Fantasy where you can become any class you want without having to restart your character. And so Warcraft is probably like, we're kind of outdated. We need to give people incentive to actually play our piece of shit game because
Well, yeah.
I mean, honestly, the game is not that good, guys. I mean, it's.
I remember when it was. I remember when it had substance, and to me at least. But looking back on it now, it's not that.
Well,
great.
I remember those days too, but the world has changed. I mean, new games have come out. It's
right.
There's a game lasting that long. It's time to just let it go. They should have released like Warcraft 2 online, or done something new to get more people into it. That's the only way you would ever save this mess. But they didn't want to do that. They just rested on their laurels with this World of Warcraft, and now they've sold their soul to Hollywood with a new movie. And
Travis Fimmel's in it though, and that's great. So
I mean, I don't even know who plays this game anymore. I assume there are people playing it out there in the world, but
yeah, my boyfriend's been selling his soul to it. Went from playing Arma all the time to World of Warcraft. It's really upsetting.
Well, I mean, you know what? You should get them into one of these other MMOs. There's a lot of other MMOs out there.
You know what? I've talked about this because here's the thing. I will always I regard Final Fantasy with nothing but love. It is a gorgeous game. Final Fantasy is the most beautiful MMO I've ever seen in my life. It's got a huge story. And it's got a good story. I think the dungeoning system is really well done. I think the group systems are well done. I don't have complaints about Final Fantasy. It's a fucking great game.
Well, my feeling on Final Fantasy is this. As far as innovation, the game is very amazing. Not only is it cross-platform, but they've done a great job at integrating the controller. I like how they've done the class systems where you can be every class in the game without having to restart a new character. So you can literally become everything with one character. That's cool.
You still have to start from level 1 on each thing.
Having said that, I think that the story is kind of eh. I mean, that's just me. I'm not a Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah.
For me, I'm drawn more to stories like the ones I've experienced in Star Trek Online or Star Wars, but it's probably because I'm just more familiar with those universes, and I can kind of just sit back comfortably, not have to learn lore. Because with Final Fantasy, I didn't know what the hell was going on from the very first moment through the
Yeah,
end.
that's the thing. It is a fan service game.
And so, like,
It caters to those of us who play Final Fantasy games and who know the because they introduce a lot of characters that you would only know if you play the games. Like, so you might meet someone in Final Fantasy and be like, "What the fuck is this?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, they're from this game and this game." And if you've never played them, you don't know what's going on anymore. It is a game that the story does not mean nearly as much if you don't know, the lore of Final Fantasy.
and like I remember when I first saw people playing Final Fantasy, and my honest to God impressions of it at that time was that it looked boring as hell. Like I didn't get the turn-based tactical thing at that time. I didn't. To me, I
Right.
was like, why would I want to sit there and plan out my attack when I can just hit a button and hit something? That was my thinking. Now, granted, the MMO works as an MMO because it's more of an MMO combat system, but in the actual core games, and that's probably what's kind of kept me away from them, is that I can play those kind of games. I can, but
Hmm.
if I have an option to play that and say play something like Mafia 3 coming out soon, or or play you know one of my ridiculous wrestling simulation games, then I'm probably going to go with something that's more action oriented. That's just me.
Yeah, you have a certain kind of playstyle. You don't like the Final Fantasy playstyle.
I'm not a big fan, but I did play Final Fantasy 14. I did finish the main story. I couldn't really tell you much about the main story because I don't remember it that well. But I experienced it, and as far as an MMO goes, regardless of all else, it is a very good MMO. Like it's very well done, very well pieced together. I think a lot of other
Yeah.
companies could learn a thing or two about how to make a good cross-platform console and PC MMO, because as far as I'm concerned, it's the king of that game. I've never played a console MMO as good as Final Fantasy, and I'm very certain that Star Trek Online is not going to be as good integrated wise for consoles. But I haven't played Star Trek Online really much. I played around with the character creator the other day, but
Hmm.
I haven't actually gone in yet to see how the controls work. So I'm scared. I'm a little nervous, but I'm looking forward to it too.
And you'll be okay. I mean, the thing with Final Fantasy is the game had already been out for years, the online one, like if it was with XI, and it was so bad that it turned into a passion project real quick. Like they were like, we're gonna redo this game and we're gonna make it amazing, and they did. And when they released the expansions and when they did the expansions and when they do updates and stuff, they're big updates, and they don't really ever give dates on expansions until they know they're ready because they want to give you the best game that they can. And I don't see that a lot with games in general anymore. Never mind MMOs. They really care about what they're putting out there. So it's just, I don't know, I'm just in love with it. And I haven't played it in so long, but like I've convinced myself I have to go back now and just start over and throw myself into it full force because I'm going to have so much time on my hands.
Oh my
I'm going to have
goodness.
to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to drown in an MMO and I'm going to fucking love it. Don't judge me. You're gonna drown in Star Trek, kinda, not really, but you're gonna like it.
I better. And I played it not too long ago with the Romulan stuff, so I don't know which character I'm going to be this time. I don't know if I'm going to which faction I'm going to go with this time. We'll have to see.
Uh, do you have any other game stuff? Oh my god, I have one thing I have to
Okay,
bring up.
bring it up.
It's about the Isle.
Oh, good lord.
I'm in love. Shut
That's
up.
not what I thought
Like
you were going to bring up, but okay.
Oh
Let's
really?
do it.
No, it's just something small that I feel needs to be mentioned. The albino Dryos are the best thing to happen to this game in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I was mentioning that on Twitter a little earlier today when I saw that.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are now making it because whether you're a herbivore or carnivore, you start as a Dryosaur. And now, if you are a carnivorous Dryosaur, you are albino. So you can't mingle. But I think you still eat trees. which is weird.
Well, I think they're slowly but surely trying to change some things. Like they've added an attack button for the Dryo.
Oh, and I did that. I used the attack button because somebody wanted to die. So it took about 15 hits for me to kill another Dryo. So if you were wondering if you have any power, you don't. You're useless still. But you at least, can say that you nibbled on someone with your little mouth. But you're still fucking useless. But I think it's great that they're albino now, so now you don't have them running into herds or herds killing you by default just because you run near them.
Yeah, and I know they've released some new skins for the Dryo aside from that one as well, so they've got some new ones. Some pretty new ones.
I know, I just wish the skin rotation was a little better because I feel like I end up with the same ones a lot.
Wow.
I know, like with the bigger dinosaurs too, I'm just like, I want more skins.
So picky.
I know. I'm just bitching. Don't buy the game. Leaving a bad review. Bye.
Well, the Friday the 13th. I'm sorry. Yes, Friday the 13th game released a new trailer.
I just apologized twice. That was very strange.
Well,
like you lost yourself.
It released a new trailer with a bunch of people dying over and over and over again. It's gory. It's gritty. I love it. And I know Shake and I were watching it live as they were showing it off, and I was just sitting there gasping at everyone, like, "Oh my god!" Like it's very good. Like
I was giggling.
I think one of my favorites was probably where Jason takes that machete and he chops off the guy's arms, and then he sticks it in his head, and then he steps on his head as he's walking away. So there's some good ones in there. Did you have a favorite?
Yeah, I really liked the one where he just stuck the blade in the guy's nose, and then the guy's on the ground trying to rip it out.
Oh yeah, the little the marshmallow.
That really got me because I'm like, oh, that's so fucking painful, and he's just laying there trying to rip it out, and I'm like, that's not gonna happen, guy. And then after they explained what they intended to do with the with what is it, the pitchfork thing through the head with the eyeballs out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when they explained that they wanted to add the eyeballs, that also quickly became a favorite because I'm like, that's going to be some weird looking shit, and I like that.
I can just see people will be starting to make compilation videos of all their kills and putting it on YouTube. And so I know some people have done reaction videos to the kills trailer that got released.
Oh, Jesus.
So those are hilarious. But yeah, apparently millions of people have seen that trailer now, and so it's getting a lot of press finally. It was trending #1 on Twitter a couple of days ago. So it's getting some press, it's getting some momentum. I like that. And I'm sure they'll release a release date as soon as they have one. Right now it's still fall 2016, they're still saying right now.
It'll be October.
Well, I mean, if it's going to be October, they need to go ahead and announce it soon because it's a month away.
I know, I just really want it to be October.
Well,
I've got so many good games coming at me in the next couple months. I can't handle it. I've got 2 games in October that I have to devote my life to.
Oh my god.
I've got Gears of War 4. That's going to take over.
Oh, Jesus.
Nothing else will matter. And then I've got Mafia 3, which means I have to go through 1 and 2.
Oh, you better get on that.
Yeah, considering I've never played either of them to completion.
Well, part 2 is amazing.
I never played 2 at all, actually. I played 1 for a long time, never finished it, never played 2.
Part 1 is kind of dated, I'm not going to lie, but the story's amazing. But part 2 is very well done, and I think it still holds up today, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll be doing both of those, because what's the date for that one?
It's coming up next month, I think, some point next month.
Yeah, what's the actual date?
I don't have it in front of me. I didn't know you were going to ask.
Jesus
All you have to do is just type it in your phone. Type in Mafia 3 release.
My phone's off because I'm a professional.
Oh, you're a professional?
Yeah, I'm a professional. My phone's off because I'm not an asshole.
Well, you know what, Shake? I'm going to save the day. All right, I'm just going to type it in, and you know what it says? It says October 7th, 2016, so that's less than 1 month away.
Oh, well, never mind then. I won't be playing it for a while.
Yeah, you won't be.
Because I'll only be in my new home for a week, and then I gotta come back here to go to Disney World. So, yeah, I won't be playing Mafia 3 when it comes out.
That actually works out well for me, then. I have something to play while you're away. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, aren't you fucking happy? Yeah, you've just got it all figured out.
Oh, I got it all figured out.
And then Gears of War is coming out. I don't remember what day.
Yeah, and there's a new wrestling title coming out next month as well. They just released the trailer. Well, actually, technically today at midnight is when they released it. It looked really good. I'll be picking it up, so If anybody wants to wrestle.
I'm sorry,
If
what?
anybody wants to wrestle, I could wrestle
Razzle?
them. Razzle
Okay, well,
razzle.
if anyone wants to wrestle with Razzle, here's your fucking
Oh my
invitation
god.
to wrestle away. Oh, you need a t-shirt for that. Wrestle and Razzle.
I should get a t-shirt. I need to wear more shirts.
Going around with the fucking house shirt. I just like mumbled that to myself and realized you
Oh
could hear
my
me.
god.
It's upsetting. I thought I said it in my head, then realized it came out of my fucking mouth.
All right, what else you got in your notes? We got time, Shake. We got some time.
I've got some like stupid shit that only I care about.
I need to know about this.
Hi. How do you feel about expiration dates?
Well, I think they're important.
I don't mean with people.
I mean, they're never going to be accurate, but you know, they're important as a guide.
Okay. So I gotta tell you something. I was at the grocery store, and I got like a Stouffer's frozen dinner, which is disgusting. So I don't need your judgment. And I cooked it, and I ate it. But then I looked at the box, and it had expired like 5 months ago.
What?
Now, I know this is a problem with the grocery store. I know this means that they're not rotating their goods, which is a bad practice. But does it really matter most of the time? Like, I feel like if juice expired, that'd be pretty bad because that changes. Like that goes through some stuff. Same thing with milk. Like milk will fucking curdle on you and stuff. But like I feel like with some foods, like what the expiration date is, like you could probably have it for like, a year after that.
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean,
like with canned goods, like who decides how long it can sit in a can?
well, that's from, tried and true practices,
What are those practices?
Well, you can up some corn and then you open it up after a while and, oh, this is nasty. Definitely put an expiration before this date.
Yeah, but like how long does it take them before, like who decided that like I am going to tell everybody when this needs to be thrown away?
I don't know who decides.
Who makes that decision? Because I don't think pasta expires.
Well, the thing is, like I said, like expiration dates are really just a guess. It's not going to be an accurate scientific thing. It's just like even with milk. Like milk, it might say it expired a week ago and it might still be good. So before you throw away your milk, make sure you open it, smell it.
Don't do that. That's fucking no.
Yes.
I do not trust. I don't even trust milk a couple days before it expires because I'll just think it smells funky.
See,
you know what? You know what expiration date you can't trust?
What?
Cold cuts.
Cold cuts.
Is that like a northerner thing? What that? Oh wow! I said something you didn't know. I feel
You mean like
weird.
are you talking about like a cold cut sub or something?
No, like you got. Well, no, you go. What's a cold cut sub?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, like when you go to the deli.
Yeah.
And you get your meats cut up.
Yeah.
It's called cold cuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Because it's cold and you're getting cut.
Right.
Cold cuts. That's like when you're at the grocery store. Like, oh, I'm gonna go get some cold cuts. When you're like a pound of cheese.
The only time I ever hear the term cold cuts is like in relation to Subway. So that's well. Oh yeah, I'll take a cold cut sub. Thank you very much.
I've never heard that ever in my life.
Well, there you go.
That must be a Georgia thing.
I don't think it's a Georgia thing. I think it's a Subway thing. So.
Well, I never heard that at this Subway, and I have frequented a few Subways. But like when you get cold cuts, you go to the deli, you get some meats, you get some cheese, whatever, so you can make some sandwiches at home and have a good time. I feel like those expiration dates don't matter because I've opened up because I smell shit all the time. Like I just smell food because I get nervous. So like I'll open the bag and all of a sudden like my chicken smells weird. So I'm like, I can't eat that. And I don't want to taste it because I don't want to like die. I
think everybody should smell their food. I don't think anybody shouldn't smell their food. So.
Yeah, like if you don't smell your food before you eat it, I don't trust you as a person anymore. Like there's something clinically wrong with you. Like because you should always like look at your food, smell it. Oh my god. Oh yeah, well even she had a sense of smell. I was just thinking of Helen Keller and feeling bad, but she could smell. So at least she can smell her food.
God.
She can't see it, so that's disturbing. But she can smell it.
She couldn't smell? What is wrong with you right now?
Well, for a second I was like, can she smell? Can she taste? Like I didn't know.
Can she taste? Jesus.
She can. Christ. Helen Keller can indeed smell and taste. She was just deaf, dumb, and blind. That's all. In case anyone forgot, because I did. But
or was it just that she was deaf and blind?
Oh, well, I just always have referred to her as deaf, dumb,
Well, I
and
think
blind my
everybody
entire
does,
life.
but I'm really
Well,
curious.
maybe they assumed she was dumb. But like, I don't know. When I think of Helen Keller, a lot of weird things go on in my head.
Well, I just think of the movie, the
I
Miracle
just think of
Worker.
Helen Keller
No,
jokes.
the
That's all I
I'm talking
think.
about the movie, the Miracle Worker.
I never watched
Okay, well, never mind.
because it ain't a miracle.
What are you talking about?
Well, I don't think Helen Kellers exist all over the place. There's plenty of deaf and blind people,
No,
right?
they're talking about the woman who worked with her, who taught her how to communicate.
Oh,
That's the miracle. Oh my.
wait, did she like invent Braille?
No, I know she didn't invent Braille, but like,
Like,
here's the thing.
what did
If
what did she do? I need to
okay,
know what
like
this
think
miracle
about
worker
it. If
did.
if this
Educate me.
girl is deaf and blind, then
Yeah.
then she basically exists in like this void of darkness because she can't hear anything, she can't see anything. The only way she can communicate is through feeling things. And so this woman taught her how to communicate with the outside world. And so she taught her through like hand signals. And she taught her like in the movie there's like, okay, spoiler alert people, if you haven't seen this damn classic movie
You haven't seen the fucking miracle
or
worker.
whatever the hell it's called. And and so at the very end of the movie, you know, because she's been like trying to teach her shit throughout this entire thing. And finally, like Helen Keller gets it. Like she understands water. And so she just understands it. And she's like making the signal when she's feeling the water. And it's like they've made this huge breakthrough. And so as soon as she's able to understand that that is a sign for that element, she's able to learn other things for other elements, and to the point that she can actually begin to communicate with the outside world. So, yeah, I mean that's in context of where that comes from or whatever.
But here's the thing: like when you lose a sense, right, your other senses are heightened and all that jazz,
I
right?
don't know.
So yeah, she's deaf, she's blind. I guess she wasn't dumb, but she's deaf and blind, right? Is the woman the miracle worker, or is Helen Keller just fucking adapting? And just this woman's the only woman who ever had patience with her because her family obviously didn't.
No, I think it's that her family accommodated her. So I mean, the thing is, like, they couldn't communicate with her, so she doesn't know anything. She doesn't understand.
But like, do you think in that day and age her parents actually treated her well?
Well, no, I'm just going by the movie. I don't know all the real.
Because I
Because
can't, like, the way I have
the thing
seen
I
people
remember,
with issues,
the
like,
thing I
treated, I just can't think she'd be respected by her family.
well, the thing I remember about the movie is that they'd be sitting there at the dinner table, and this girl would be walking around the table, just grabbing people's food and eating it, and just continuing to circle around the table, grabbing food.
And nobody said anything?
No, they just let her do it because that's, like I said, like accommodated her to whatever she needed to do.
They never thought to just sit her down at the fucking table?
Well, I mean, if you did, here's the thing: how would you communicate with her that she's supposed to sit there?
You just plop her ass down, you put a fork in her hand, you let her feel it up. I mean, if she's been feeling it up since she was a baby, she knows what it's good for. And then, you just motion it towards the plate, you dip her hands in it or whatever you need to do, then put it in her mouth, and she's like, oh, yummy. And you're like, yeah, use the fork to eat it, but that could be dangerous.
But how do you
So I
communicate? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they couldn't.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if she does it, like, her whole life, every day, then she'd just know. Like, from infancy. Like, they just, they should just fucking figure it out. But if her parents are letting this fucking... What beast have you created when you let your child circle a table just randomly swiping their hands through your plates?
I think it's very easy to judge them, but at the same time, at that time in history, like, they didn't know what to do. Because, I mean... You can't really.
You don't think in that day and age that they would have been like, oh, we don't want this child from like a young age? Like, I feel like most families would have been like, I don't want this, whatever this is.
They fucking hire this woman to come in and try to communicate with her so that they can talk to her. So, I mean, I think they were doing something, but I don't know.
Well, they were obviously doing something right. I don't think what they did. I don't know. I
Here's
want
the
to know
thing.
if
Like, if you really think that you could have handled that situation better.
I think I could have tried.
Well, I think they tried too, but I don't think.
No, you were not trying if you're letting your fucking child sweep around the table.
Okay, no, but that's not how things would have begun, though. That's how things ended up, yeah, because after a while of no successes of trying to do exactly what you were trying to do, let's say, Shake, that you kept doing that over and over, and that it never clicked with her. She never understood what you were trying to do. What are you going to do? Talk to her? You can't talk to her. Or are you going to show it to her? You can't show her. She doesn't understand. She lives in a world of black and darkness, and she only understood people probably by their smells and what they felt like. And so it's kind of like you're existing in this whole other reality, and they didn't know how to communicate. They didn't have the skills to know how to do that, but they did what they could. And eventually they brought in this professional woman who also didn't know what to do, but she tried different things over and over and over again until it finally clicked. And so I think that they did an okay job. At least they got this other woman in there, right? And again, I'm just going by the fucking movie as if this is reality.
Right, and I'm just saying, if this woman tried something over and over and over again, that just, to me, makes me think that her parents did not put forth the effort that they could have as her parents.
Well, I think they did up to a point, because if you have a child who you keep doing these things over and over and over again, and then they start screaming, and and you feel like it's almost a hopeless thing, and you're like, well, my child would be more happy if, they were able to do this other thing, because they're not really disturbing anything. And after a while, they get so used to it that they don't even think about it. And so it's a weird thing. I don't know. I don't.
I mean,
know
I've lived this. I mean, I was never with Helen Keller, but I have one of my sisters has severe autism.
Okay.
She can't talk. She has very short-term she doesn't remember anything. At the age of 5, she still didn't know who her parents were. She didn't know what parents were at all. She didn't know how to use the bathroom. She didn't know how to eat like a person. So when she did something right, they'd record it. So she would sit in a room and watch herself do things over and over and over and over again. And now she's 13 years old. 3 years ago, she was able to identify who mom and dad were. Finally, after 10 years of being alive, she knows who her parents are.
Well, that's awesome.
And I'm just saying. And the person who did this was not a miracle worker. It was her mom.
Of course
not. So if you have patience.
But you can't show Helen Keller anything.
It doesn't matter. I don't give a fuck about the blind shit. Because the thing is, if you spend enough time and you don't give up on your child, something will happen. Because I'm sorry, there is a huge breakdown in communication if your child is fucking eating off your plate, walking around the dining room.
No kidding. But I mean, that's the thing, though. No one had ever. I don't know if any other family had dealt with this exact situation before, where the child was both, deaf and blind. Maybe they have, but this is the one that got publicized.
No, because most parents would have. I mean, I'm not saying this to be horrible. Most parents would have made it go away.
They probably would have.
I'm not even kidding. In that time, they would have been like, "This is a problem for us. She's defective. I can't have this. She's not going to survive and thrive, so bye."
But see, that's what I'm saying, because I don't know anything about the real story here. Again, I'm just going by the fucking movie here. It could turn out that her parents were the most abusive sons of bitches on the planet. I don't know that. I'm just judging the fucking movie. And based on the fucking movie, I don't get the sense that the parents weren't caring. I get the sense that the parents literally didn't know what else to do, and so they hire another person, a professional who had worked with either people who are deaf or people who are blind, but certainly never worked with people
certainly never both.
Right. And so they hired her to come in and to try something. So they were constantly trying to do things. And in fact, the parents did fight with her in the movie. Whenever she wanted them to stop accommodating her, they would be like, no, she's happy doing this. And then she'd be like, no, you can't do this. You can't let her eat around the table. You can't do that, because I need to teach her. And if she doesn't do the way...
How to not be an animal.
Well, right. And she was saying, if she doesn't do it the way that I'm teaching her, then she doesn't get to eat. and then she'll get it. She will eventually get it. But her parents felt like that was really
She'll understand the concept of I only get food now if I do this, because if a
and,
kid's starving, they're gonna figure
and
it
I
out.
think the problem was that the parents cared too much. It wasn't that they didn't care enough, it's that they cared too much about their child's feelings because they were so.
But they don't even know what their kids' feelings are.
I know, but here's the thing. They felt like it would be abusing their child, but they did give into it. They did let her do her thing because they did, in their own right minds, seem to understand that she knew what she was doing. It was just very difficult for them because they didn't want to see their child suffering. And so they were probably always looking at this like, their child has several disabilities and they don't feel like it's right to not accommodate their child. So that's how they were probably looking at it. So I don't think it's that they didn't care or they didn't try. I think it's that they just cared a little too much about their child's feelings and not necessarily cared enough, or let me rephrase that, not necessarily knew enough to know that they were not helping their child. Because when Helen Keller grew up and she got older, she went out into the world and she did shit. So, I mean, obviously.
But what did she do?
She
How could you have any concept of what to go out
didn't
and do
she
in the
write
world?
books? What am I talking about? I don't even know Helen Keller.
How could Helen Keller have the thought process to write a book?
Because she was able to communicate. As soon as you
right,
broke
but
in that
she
down.
can't see in color. She can't describe a person.
Well, I don't know.
And if she does,
Hold on.
it's somebody else doing it for her.
I don't know if she broke books or not. I was just saying something.
We're very ignorant on the topic of Helen Keller.
We're just what she did.
Spewing vomit about Helen.
I remember she gave lectures. That's all I remember about her.
I remember she met the president, but I don't know if that was because she was actually important or because, like, look at what we did for this deaf and blind girl.
Yeah, this is the most informative Helen Keller podcast I've ever listened to in my life. Neither one of us has any idea what the hell we're talking about.
We got here from expiration dates, let me tell you. This is how we got here. Well, I gotta do some homework on Helen Keller. This is bullshit.
You need to do some homework.
I'm just angry about it. Like, now I'm just mad about Helen Keller because I think it's bullshit.
Well, what?
I think Helen Keller is a bunch of bullshit. I gotta look into her. I gotta learn. I gotta get some education on Helen Keller because I don't think that was a miracle. I'm gonna figure it out.
I think. What?
I just don't. I think her parents were negligent. They were probably abusive too.
Well, I mean, in their own way, they probably were abusive in the movie, at least, in a way.
I mean, but she's deaf, so it's not like you could like yell nasty shit at her and she's gonna hear it. So I guess that abuse could go.
But they would definitely be enduring a lot of their child yelling and screaming and being unable to speak to her or communicate with her. So that's why I'm saying it was a very frustrating situation for everyone. Nobody knew what the hell they were doing, but everybody was trying. They just didn't know what the fuck they were doing. It's kind of like when we faced, like, in the 19 or whenever the hell, back in the Great Depression, nobody knew how to fix the fucking economy. Nobody, because we'd never faced a problem like that before. So they took a chance on something and it actually worked out. So it's the same concept. It's just, if you don't know what to do, sometimes you have to throw a Hail Mary pass and hope for the best.
Yeah, you have to throw a Hail Mary and watch as your kid eats your dinner off your fucking plate.
Just circle around it over and over and eat your food.
If I ever have children, that's the way we're going to eat dinners together. We're just going to set a bunch of plates around the table, and we'll all just walk around the table. We'll get some exercise in.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to go out to, like, a restaurant and just walk around people's tables and eat all their food.
Yeah. And then they're going to be like, what's your problem? It's like, nothing. I'm channeling my inner Helen Keller. What's your problem, jerk?
Probably get away with it.
I know. They'd be like, oh, Helen Keller. I'm like, yeah, it's her birthday. Get with the program.
Yeah,
I got to know her birthday.
This restaurant's my safe space.
I was just nothing. What I was gonna say was really not appropriate. I was just gonna say there's probably a lot of like deaf and blind people who were offended by this, but none of them are listening. It's fine.
Whoa, hold on. Now, I have already freely admitted my knowledge of this subject matter is based on a fucking movie that I saw years ago that I barely.
I know, but I'm condoning walking around a table imitating Helen Keller for the sake of her birthday.
And furthermore, to reiterate, I am not even speaking of the real Helen Keller. I'm speaking of the fictional version from a movie when I speak of this, because that is all I know about. So that is all I have to say.
I'm speaking about whatever. I don't know anymore. I'm just throwing words out there about Helen.
Jesus.
You know what? That was a great topic to end on. I'm proud of that.
Oh, I hope you are.
You know what? We went from expiration dates to Helen Keller.
Well,
it's great. We've made plans for the future of what we're going to do at dinner, so it's worked out for me. And we're at an hour and a half. Would you look at that?
How about that? Oh my God.
Is that our longest?
No, it's not our longest.
Fuck!
No.
You know what? We did pretty good. Oh, anyway, we're done here because this is, we did our best and that's all we can do. You can email us at theprattlecast@gmail.com. Leave us a message at speakpipe.com/theprattlecast. The YouTube channel and the Twitter names are all the same. Our personal Twitters are ShakeZillaTV and Razzle_Dazzles. Our Twitch names are the same. We stream together every Friday or Saturday night at around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to keep saying we're working on Saints Row. It's going to get done someday. It'll happen. Things are very busy right now, but we'll get it finished. And it'll get done. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow, but we'll figure that out. It'll be a mystery. And Razzle's probably not even going to be streaming, but that's fine. He'll still be there. You'll hear him, and that's a good thing, right? Did I get everything?
I hope
it's
so.
It's very late night for me, so I'm feeling very old. Anyway, be nice to each other. See you next week.